President Assad's rule over Syria only ended 5 days ago. But today his country was unrecognisable as hundreds of thousands of his former subjects took to the streets to celebrate his fall in what they called Victory Friday. Syrians across the parts of the country held by the HTS-led rebel forces gathered in city squares after the first Friday prayer since the former president's departure. In a moment we'll hear from our chief correspondent, Stuart Ramsay, who witnessed the celebrations in the city of Homs and saw Russian forces in retreat. But first, our international affairs editor, Dominic Waghorn, has this report from Umayyad Square in Damascus.
They came in their thousands to one of Islam's most holy sites, the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, to worship together in freedom.
We are as a one person. You said us, we are as a one person. Sunni, Shia, Alawi, we are a one person. We are in the mosque and I say we are the one person.
In their uprising, Friday prayers were the focus of their resistance against Assad. As today's drew to a close, the roar was deafening. This is the sound of hope and liberation without fear of being killed by a regime. Now it's been toppled. Earlier, the leader of Syria's revolution had urged people to gather in Damascus.
A call on the people to head down to the square to express their victory without firing arms and causing panic. And after that, let's move on to build this country.
The crowds built up all day. They came to capture the moment. Many could not contain their euphoria.
I see in their face, smiling, happy, inside their heart. It's unbelievable. You cannot believe like that, because this moment, we wait until 15 years, we wait this moment. All the people, they wait so much, and at last, it's come.
Whatever else may happen in Syria,
Abdul Rahman has lived all his life under the tyranny of the Assad family. His words and actions controlled by the regime. Not anymore.
Square,
we can say things we have never dreamt of saying before. We can
against Bashar al-Assad began
never thought of
in 2011. The numbers were absolutely massive.
Cursing al-Assad.
How does that feel for you?
The crowds were overseen by revolutionary fighters on rooftops, and no guns were allowed into the square.
We are all in one wedding.
This, they said, was Homs Freedom Day.
A
sentiment
like
shared
Ruba, they
by
can
all
now
ages
dream of a
and all
better
sectors.
future.
What do you want to do in the free Syria with your life?
I can't even to develop our country. To develop our country, to embrace it in one hand, to develop it and become like other countries, like Britannia, for example.
For 50 years, this has been forbidden spontaneously, gathering on the streets, totally banned by the government without its permission. Well, there's no stopping them now.
There are huge challenges ahead, uncertainty about their new leaders
There was
and
some
future.
segregation
but
in the
whatever
crowd.
it brings, so
the
many
Homs
here
is a
tell you it can
conservative
never be
place,
as
and
bad
nobody
as what
seems to
they've
care.
been through.
There's obviously considerable uncertainty
Dominic
about
Waghorn,
what the future
Sky
holds
News,
for Syria,
Damascus.
But this is an incredibly momentous
This is
day.
really quite
And
extraordinary.
although there
On the
are
road near
concerns,
Homs,
this
an
really is a
enormous
day
convoy of
for
Russian
celebration.
military vehicles heading northwest towards a Russian military base on Syria's Mediterranean coast. The Omar bin al-Khattab convoy was unpacked to the rafters from way before prayers, clearly visible on trucks, trailers and armoured vehicles. Sheikh Mahmoud Dalati was the spiritual leader of the uprising in Homs. Were made up He's returned from exile to deliver a sermon calling for unity, law and order and no retribution. Use the courts, he said. These pictures suggest the Russians are withdrawing from bases near cities like Homs. Syria may have fundamentally changed, but nobody knows the direction. They were already celebrating in huge numbers Stuart Ramsay, the end of the Assad regime. This would be the icing on the cake. Whatever else may happen in Syria, there was a determination here that this was to be a day of celebration. In Clock Square, where some of the first spontaneous demonstrations against Bashar al-Assad began in 2011, the numbers were absolutely massive. The crowds were overseen by revolutionary fighters on rooftops, and no guns were allowed into the square. This, they said, was Homs Freedom Day, a sentiment shared by all ages and all sexes.
How are you feeling today?
Oh my God, I can't even describe this thing that's going on right now. It's a massive, huge happiness. We're all experiencing this together. We haven't felt this way in a while, like right now, you know?
Tell me how you feel today.
Very good.
Very good and happy because we are free. We are free. Freedom!
There was some segregation in the crowd, but Homs is a conservative place and nobody seemed to care.
There's obviously considerable uncertainty about what the future holds for Syria, but this is an incredibly momentous day. And although there are concerns, this really is a day of celebration.
The Omar bin Al-Khattab Mosque was packed to the rafters from way before prayers. Sheikh Mahmoud Dalati was the spiritual leader of the uprising in Homs. He's returned from exile to deliver a sermon calling for unity, law and order and no retribution. Use the courts, he said. Clerics carry a lot of weight here, but they can't guarantee anything. Syria may have fundamentally changed, but nobody knows the direction it will go. Stuart Ramsay, Sky News, Homs.